But the bad news, we're going the complete wrong direction. I'm just kidding. We actually go this way for a couple different reasons. Now, the common misconception is that we back down to give our locomotive a running start for the hill. Now, this is not true. 111 used to pull freight in her day, so our 9-car passenger train is pretty light for her. We back down this way to give you a full and complete ride up the route. If we did not do this, we would be called the Georgetown squiggly line. And that's just way too many syllables to be saying. We also do this to give you an awesome view of our Devil's Gate hydrants from beneath. As we continue down the line here, take a look out to the train and look up. This high bridge was built 100 years after the original in the winters of 1984. It cost about $250,000 to build, provided by the Batcher Foundation. And it is said to be at least 5 times stronger than the original bridge. Now, this is a particularly good thing. Back then, all the old timers would say the original bridge would noticeably dip and sway as trains passed over them. Now, today, I can guarantee that our bridge does not dip and sway as much as the original bridge did. I'm just kidding. Again, it doesn't dip and sway at all. If it did, I would not be riding it today, and your tickets would definitely be a lot cheaper. Now I have plenty of fun facts to share with you about this bridge, and I would love to. However, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. As I have your tickets out for me and my conductor, the validation clock. I told her do ask that you do not stick out any arms or cameras. This is a very narrow cut in the mountainside. We'd hate for you to get hurt or lose that fancy camera of yours.
no later than 10:45. 10:45 is when this train is leaving. We would hate to leave any of you behind. So please be back no later than 10:45. Welcome to Silver Plume, folks, where the elevation is 9,178 feet closer to the sun.
very cold water. That is because it is coming directly from the snowmelt up on the Continental Divide, which is located just a few miles west of here, in Loveland, Appalachian. One of Colorado's finest ski areas is also located here. Although only a sub-end branch line from Denver, this railroad was very profitable in the early days. It brought miners, their families, and their resources to the mountain communities, while also taking the rich silver and gold ore down to the Denver and Golden Mills to be processed. This continued until 1893, when the Sherman Silver Purchase Act was repealed, and the president was suffered. With as many as 7 trains a day, bringing people up here to Silver Plume, tourism was booming. But by the 1920s, the third side you get a good photograph for a locomotive of 1934. And on the right side, you can see historic downtown Georgetown, along with the Devil's Gate High Bridge. Now, this bowl-shaped area is called the ballpark. See, back then, these trees didn't used to be there. In fact, the early settlers and the early miners had chopped them all down and used them to build cabins and for firewood. They used this bowl-shaped area to build a ballpark, and they had picnics here and play games on their time off. You see, I guess these guys could be called the original Colorado Rockies. Although, I'm not too sure on how they could compare to today's Colorado Rockies. You see, they were playing in what you call the minor league. And Tracy can only go downhill from here. Speaking of downhill, we are approaching our steepest portion of the line. This is a descending 4% grade, which means for ever as much as we do. As we continue around this curve here, we'll be entering a cut in the mountainside. Notice the rock retaining walls on either side. These walls were placed over 100 years ago by the Cornish and Welsh miners without the use of mortar. This method was known as dry stoning or dry stacking. The retaining bolts that you see within the walls were placed about 19 years ago to ensure their stability. These walls have required very little maintenance over time. We are now coming up on our Lebanon mine stop. If you have a purchase optional mine tour and a pink or orange wristband to go along with it, this is your stop. We'll come back over the PA and let you know once the train has come to a full and complete stop and when it is safe to disembark. I do ask though, that if you have a pink or orange wristband, to have them out and ready for the mine crew to be able to see.
Yes, they're just slowly pedaling along. Alright, so if you guys do with a unique photo, start grabbing your phones, point them towards that rock wall. They'll be coming around the towards that rock wall. .30. Do it 4 times a day, that's a mile, .20. Pretty good up and down. I don't know any of the guys that like work a full day.
I was distracted from this area. But today's money that has the same purchasing power as $5.5 billion. Now, if you look to the left side of our train here, you might notice one of our local prospectors, Charlie. Charlie's been working hard to strike a rich while Brady's been aboard to the bone. Now, if you're curious which flies produce solar, which goes on above I-70, the gray coloration of the rocks is Georgetown Salinas, silver ore. Then up towards the east, the rusty red colors is actually an indication of gold mining. Now, did you hear about the time they threw a piano down a mine shaft? They got a flat mine. Once an Ingersoll ran air compressor that not only air tools in the mine. It's under so light you heard all the way down in Georgetown. Onto that, the old stone foundation was the old boiler house. Now, this mine proved so profitable that it outlasted their field assurance or percent. Outlived its way through World War I and the Great Depression, and even the original railroad. And they only shut their doors in 1942 where there was a ban placed on precious metal mining. One of the earliest miners in this area was a gentleman by the name of George Griffith, who came here in 18th Canyon is known to generate strong breezes. The old timers compare it to the bellows of a devil, and the center span of this bridge is often compared to it looks to a gate. For your trivia file here, the bridge is about 319 feet in length, about the size of an average American football field. And we're also entering onto an 18.5-degree left-hand curve. And while it may look level, we'll actually be dropping about 6 feet side to side. These passes made the original bridge quite unique, as there is a complete full bridge that is built completely flat and straight to ensure structural integrity. Now, if you're afraid of heights, don't look down. It's about 74.6 feet down to our lower tracks and about an even 100 feet down to the crisp clear waters of Clear Creek. Now, if you are afraid of heights, I do have a small recommendation for you. If you look above your car lights, you see a small stone pebble. I'd like you to pick that pebble up and roll it through your fingers. Really focus on it and its texture, and you may begin to feel a little bolder. Now, on the right side of our train is Georgetown, sitting at the Saxon Mountain, the highest per capita amount of Victorian buildings and moves our nation. Then lingering above our telescapeboarding area to the left here is the mighty mountains. So no, we don't take this view for granted. Now, at the end of our parking lot here, there's a small stone marker that was originally erected in 1947 and moved there in 1949 from the Colorado Historical Society. It was meant to commemorate the original railroad and bridge, now anticipating a line to be rebuilt about 30 years later. Now, as for the actual specific train you're riding in today, the cars you're in today were originally narrow-gauge freight cars coming from 3 various railroads. 3 of them come from the old White Pass and Yukon out of Skagway, Alaska, and they were originally light flatbeds. Now we have 1 car original to this line, that's the 1116. It was originally a Colorado and Southern refrigerated boxcar. And the other cars originally served the old Denver Rio Grande, later the Denver Rio Grande Western, which operated from the years of 1870 to 1969 as narrow gauge lines out of southwestern Colorado. 2 portions of that line exist today as the Durango and Silverton, and another exists as the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad, operating from Antonito, Colorado to Chalma, New Mexico. Now, as for your locomotive today is a diesel. In fact, it's a diesel-electric locomotive from 1934. This engine was built by the General Electric Locomotive Company in 1951 and actually is a standard gauge locomotive for the service of the United States Navy. It was converted to narrow gauge in 2016 by J.C. McHugh in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, just one more here, you're going to hear a long-lasting sequence of 1934's air horn. That's actually the letter Q in Morse code. Now, letter Q has nothing to do with railroading, but it's a doctrine from Victorian Europe, where the Q sequence will indicate that we have a student engineer today by the name of Vic. He's been here for about 5 years now. We're now coming over Clear Creek for the 4th and final time today. Though we really only come a mile as the crow flies, we've used up nearly 3.5 miles of rail as of this point. The continental elevation approximately 563 feet. Then if you look to the right side of our train, you may notice the plateau we were on just a few short minutes ago. Show you the reflected nature of the Georgetown this team has at this point, so we'll ask you to please remain seated. And on behalf of the Georgetown Loop, we hope to see you again real soon. Welcome back to Devil's Gate.
Cute.
Ana, kikir, Ana.
One second, honey.
Our kids have bowling all day.
They're very